The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the third day of November 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations on Hot 107.5. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Teray Tall, and Simone Vaughn will be with us in a bit to bring the latest in the news break. How was your weekend, Teray?
It was excellent. I had a great Halloween weekend, and now it's like the best time of the year, November, December. I'm up. How are you?
First off, no. I'm all right because I'm got something to tell you.
Oh,
But
oh,
you're telling me Halloween weekend, you didn't egg anybody, did you?
I did not. You'd be very proud of me. I didn't egg anyone. I didn't squirt anyone with bodily fluids in a water gun. There was none of that.
I gotta ask because younger folks, you can't take the child out of them, folks. You can't. You said how was my weekend, or how am I?
Yeah, how are you?
So Teray, I'm doing well. I attended a wedding in the mountains this weekend, and Teray, not only did the wedding start early, 2 minutes early. Let's start at 4 o'clock. Start at 3:58.
Oh,
But the
wow.
wedding ceremony only lasted, Teray, approximately 15 minutes. Teray,
The wedding ceremony lasted 15 minutes?
15 minutes. They started early and it lasted 15 minutes. Teray, let me tell you what I problem I think I've solved in the world, Teray. The problem I think we've solved is that Black people, it's possible to be on time or early, and it's possible to get things done in a timely manner.
Question. This wedding that you went to, Black people were not getting married, right?
They were not.
Exactly. I knew it. I'm like, these two, the bride and groom must be two type A people. They must be two type A people getting married, because if they're that efficient, I kind of love it.
My kind of people, where have they been?
I mean, they're not your kind of people. They're not your people, as far as we know.
This is what I'm talking about. We've got to make some adjustments in our community, Teray. Like
Yeah.
when I say I was shocked, I mean, they had a rule. They said pretty much everyone needed to be seated by a certain time. Or they're not coming in, whatever. Cool. I love the strictness. Not only was everyone seated and ready to go, but they were early, Teray. And folks were in their seats. And I'm just like, I just want everybody to show up on time for Christmas dinner. You feel me? Like, it's a saying in the Black community that, oh, this person's so late, they're gonna be late for their own funeral. You heard that one? Well,
I have.
Teray, we got to start the show, but I'm gonna say this part. Right before we leave. Teray, I want to let people know my attention span has never been great, but now that I'm older, I can't be out all night. So if you decide to invite me somewhere, make sure that if you say the time is starting this time and ending this time, we stick with it. Or else I'm out, right? And if it's a wedding or something, know that your gift depends on my experience.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
So you give the gift after the wedding?
You go on
You
the
don't bring
registry. You go on the
Don't
registry.
you do that before? Aren't you
this,
supposed to do that before?
This is 2025. You get the registry. Boom, like that. It's like going to a restaurant. You don't tip before you finish your food, do you? Or before you
No,
experience
wait.
the meal.
So you show up empty-handed? I've never gone to a wedding empty-handed.
You go on the registry.
The registry that exists before the wedding, right?
That's right, Teray.
All right. I think we're on two different planes on this one.
Well, that's normally the case with us, but hey.
Yeah, I suppose. But anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed your wedding. If you are lucky enough to get an invite to my wedding, just know it won't be that. It won't be that type of situation.
First off, I'm crashing your wedding, and past 4:00. That's gonna be me. Yeah, I'll be that person. No, I won't, folks. Anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome former Bermuda College lecturer and economist Craig Simmons. So we're going to be discussing Bermuda's economy today. So looking forward to the conversation with Mr. Simmons. The daily play is going to be Bermuda trivia today. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Folks,
all right.
It's in one of the Bermuda trivia. This question comes from Bermuda Trivia, the card game. So, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's just jump into the conversation today. Well, let's say good morning to some folks first. Mark C. Phillips, he says, good morning, J and T Double.
I love that nickname, T Double. That's new.
Double T.
Yes.
Pareto. Double T. Man, how come I didn't think of that?
Because you're not Mark Arthur C. Phillips. I told you he's great. The only flaw he has is, what was it? He doesn't like candy corn. That's the only flaw so far.
He's for Arsenal. Don't forget that one.
That's fine. I can ignore that.
Oh, okay. Suzanne Ingham says, it's truly a super awesome Monday. Jamal, Teray, and Simone have TDH on a Monday. I'm excited. Yeah, we haven't done a Monday in a while, huh, folks?
We're back.
Well, let's jump into it. So question of the morning is, what are some ways we can assist those in need if we are unable to financially? And would you rather give your time or money? Well, where does this question come from? We're living in a time in the United States right now where they're called SNAP benefits, I believe. I've basically, so let me just give some background to something I didn't even think about last night. So I had never watched a President Trump interview until last night. I know you will be like, seriously? No, I've only caught literally press conferences or like little clips of it. But last night I was watching the Chiefs and Bills game. That's NFL for folks who don't know. And after that, 60 Minutes came on. And I hadn't seen 60 Minutes since I was with my nana in like a little top pop, because that's been on since we were children. Anyway, I watched it and I was just like, wow. Like, and not a good wow, folks. I'm not gonna disrespect my niece like that. She's brilliant. It was hard, and I say it's hard because we laugh, we joke, but this is serious, right? And you can't treat the lives of people the way that, like, Teray and I can get in an argument right now, but hopefully our argument, people's lives aren't dependent on what we're debating or arguing. Right? When people's lives depend on it, we'll win. It's not about you winning or losing. It's about what's in the best interest of the people that you govern for. And I looked at that and I was like, this is a person who really doesn't care who eats or doesn't. And the other reason I felt this was an important conversation, Teray, is because of what's happened in the Caribbean, Jamaica in particular, as there's a plane heading down from Bermuda. People have for years donated to the Red Cross and so many different things. And anyone who knows me, especially when I was working at Hot 1075 in the office, I would go to People's Pharmacy every day for my popcorn. Ms. Dale, not sure if she still sells it, but that was my snack. And I would get everyone in the office popcorn. But while there were always people doing tag days. And I would always, give whatever cash I had and get tags. And I would put them on my window to stickers when I got back. So I'm not quite sure if they're still there to this day, but they probably removed them. But I would always give to them. And then over the years, you all know I'm very, I always coined this term, in a fair and just society, there would be no need for charity. I stand by my words. But a couple of things bother me with it, Teray. One, as I've grown older, I'm more inclined to want to assist people when I know directly how my donation is going to be used, rather than funneling it through 3-4 entities where I'm like, well, where did the money go? And then 2, if I'm able, I'd rather give my time, which I've done as well, whether it's mentoring or coaching or the like, because I can easily measure that impact versus giving money somewhere. So I'm concerned when I see these. And then last night, I once again saw all these different fraud alerts from LinkedIn to Instagram and Facebook. And I'm concerned. And then the last part about it, Teray, and then I'll let you take the floor, is for years, people have used charity to build their own personal resume. And it makes me uncomfortable. And I say that you all would never know my name if they didn't make me go public with conscription. Meaning that's not something I ever wanted to be out there. The same way, whatever mentoring, coaching, or money I donate, I don't care for that to be on my resume. I don't care for that to be something of interest. The only people I care about knowing is the people who are benefiting from it and their families in the community. But I feel like if you can't give or help others without making sure that other people know you're doing it, you aren't doing this to change anyone's fortunes. And as I said yesterday, I literally hate, and you always say hate, but I hate seeing people take advantage of other people's misfortunes to create their own fortune, whether it's political capital, whether it's building their own wealth. And so when we ask, what are some ways we can assist those in need if we are unable to financially? It could be as simple as, you know what? Maya always speaks about thrifting, giving to thrift stores. I'm going to be honest with you. That's something Maya's done to inspire me. Teray, I've given away so much this year to Goodwill, right? And at first, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be real. In America, in the United States, the American way is to do it for tax benefits. I threw that receipt away because that's not why I did it. People, you all probably say, you're dumb, but that's who I am. So much. Yeah. Last week, I was looking for 2 of my favorite shirts I like to wear on the show, and I couldn't find them because I donated them. And I'm okay with that because I will wear the same thing on her over and over and over, and you all gonna know. That's that male privilege they speak about.
Yes, it is.
NBC Today Show did a whole thing where that law wore the same thing every day. You all noticed the women did it. You all in the comments. But anyway, let me not get sidetracked. But Teray, let's jump into it. Again, audience, let us know, because I go all day. What are some ways we can assist those in need if you're unable to financially? And would you rather give your time or money?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there from what you said.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
There's a lot that you just mentioned. I mean, you started out with Trump, who, by the way, while he's in the process of cutting the SNAP benefits, this weekend he held this extravagant party at Mar-a-Lago, featuring a lot of showing of wealth and resources and food. So just the juxtaposition between like this very high net worth individual event while also cutting off access to nutritious food for Americans. It's really diabolical. And I think it goes back to your earlier question, which I found really insightful, which is like, who are you governing for? And I think he's governing for the people that he wants to govern for, which is the elite, right? Like he is cowarding to these technocrats and individuals, not necessarily American people. And I think in some ways that relates to this conversation now about giving time or money, because I think my answer to this question is really depending on the type of help that I want to give. If money is more helpful, or more impactful, then it'll be money. If my time or my expertise or just a skill set that I have can be more helpful, then I would give that, right? Like for me, it's really context dependent because I also understand what you're talking about of like,
Mhm.
okay, can I trust this person or this entity to get the money where it should be?
Mhm.
There's a lot of institutional distrust, which I get. I mean, the level of corruption and scheming lately is just it's just bizarre. So I understand that there's a sentiment of like, okay, is this really going to help the person? But I think in a broader sense, I still do believe in the betterment of society and the good of people. So I'd be open to doing both. It just depends on the type of help that is necessary. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, I think a lot of people will say that. I think for me, it would depend on whatever the particular situation is, right? How I'm able to measure. So I can agree with that. Let's go to the audience. We did ask, what would you rather give, time or money? And WKD Llama said money. Uh,
Mm.
we've got Suzanne Ingham says, time. I have no money. I have a mortgage. Fair enough.
Time is great, Suzanne. Time is great, and I think it's an undervalued asset that is only going to get more valuable
Mhm.
as we progress, like with AI and development. Like we're going to need people
And
who show up.
you said it before we came on. You said time is money, right?
Time is money. Exactly. Time is money.
That's real. Time is money. Sancha Durham says, would definitely prefer to give time. I feel like we've been throwing money at problems for too long. Speak on that, T. Because
I don't have anything to say. I think,
go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say it is a thing where people feel like, so here's one of my things with money, throwing money. There was an OBA politician, probably one of the most annoying politicians. I'll let you all pick the bones out of it, but he is a landscaper at one point. But he annoyed the crap out of me. And Diallo Rabin, Minister Rabin, the Honorable Diallo Rabin came on, and he kind of shed light on why it's important to decipher when it comes to giving time and money and volunteerism versus people who have to work certain jobs. And he used the example of, I think it was given scholarships. He said, they
Mm,
remove some things from scholarships because not every young child has the time to go and volunteer as a candy striper. Some have to work to help, themselves,
yeah.
right? So it was this OBA politician that always spoke about, oh, this person donates all this time and donates all this money. Donating time and money doesn't remove evil. It doesn't,
Absolutely.
like that's there's sometimes to satisfy ego, and it's also a sense of your privilege that you are able to
Hmm.
give your time and your money while other people are struggling to just support their families. So I think we have to speak on that,
Yeah.
and kind of understand that for me, if you are able to give is one thing, but no one should be forced to. And I remember this, we're talking 15 years ago, more than 15 years ago, when I was coaching, and a fellow coach said to me, he said, Hartman, the thing is, I mean, it's different from when we came out where, our families had more structure and support. Said a lot of people out here struggling, they can't afford to donate their time and coach and so on. They just don't have the, everybody's, and I've said this on the show many times, Teray, people are literally struggling just to feed themselves. So it's difficult to try to feed others. I get
Yeah.
it. So
Hmm.
as far as we've been throwing money at things for too long, there are certain people who have always used their privilege to act like they're doing more than other people and belittle other people. And yes, they've just, I'll give $10,000 here for this. Is it really fixing the problem?
And oftentimes, the people who lack the resources and access to money are doing more for the problem than those with money to give to the problem, right? Like, because you have to become, I think when you grow up poor or when you grow up struggling, you have to become really creative
Mhm.
about ways to survive in a way that somebody who can just, I don't know, throw 100,000 at a problem, they can just say, okay, well, this should empower you to be better. So I think it's a distinction. But something else that you said was really interesting, Jamal, about like why are people giving and what's the motivation behind it. There's this philosopher who tells us that like every act is a selfish act, like point blank, whether you're doing something for me, whether you're doing something for the Red Cross, whether you're volunteering your time or volunteering your expertise, it all satisfies a bit of your ego, or it gives you a feeling that is good. And I don't think that's a problem per se. My problem becomes once it's performative, like performative activism, slacktivism, performative charity, or just wanting to be perceived as good. But even then, right? Like if somebody is doing something for bad reasons, but it still has a good intention, is that still has some benefit in and of itself? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
at the end of the day, they've still provided some value, even if their intentions were misaligned.
I get you, but have I told you the story of Suge Knight?
No,
You know who
I don't
Suge
think
Knight
so.
is? You know who Suge
I
Knight?
do. I do know who Suge Knight is.
So I was in Alabama, and this is one of those things that really encouraged me to want to do what we do. I was in Alabama driving in the car, and back then we actually did listen to the radio in the car. And it was afternoon drive, and this lady told a story about Suge Knight. 2 young children must have lost their parents in a train accident or something. It was a fatality. I don't remember the exact story, but I'm trying to tell you as best I remember because we're talking over 20 years ago. And so basically she was saying Suge Knight stepped in and paid for this and gave this or that. And her question for the audience that day was, does the good he's doing for this family remove all the evil he's done to others? I'm challenged with it, Teray. I'm challenged with it. You feel me? It's because I agree with what you're saying, but it's like, you get me?
Yeah, I mean, was that his intention? Was he saying, "Oh, now I'm a reformed person because I've done X, Y, and Z"? Like, well,
Well, I mean, he since then he definitely wasn't reformed because that was 2002, 2001. So yeah, we see what he's done since then. But I guess to the point is, you know, I agree because it's like if they're doing good and people benefit, we appreciate it for that, right? We appreciate that.
yeah.
You've got to appreciate it. Well, we don't have to, but it's understandable to appreciate it.
And also, how often are we seeking to understand intention? Like,
Mm.
in what other spaces does intention
Mm.
matter? I mean, you could say a lot, but I think, like, okay, like, even if you didn't really care about the project, but you just wanted to do it to fulfill some quota, I'm like, okay, that has utility, that has
Mm.
value. Um, And that's something I'm willing to accept. I definitely know that some people are not, and some people would prefer I would also prefer somebody whose heart's in it and somebody who wants to do good than somebody who is like ambivalent or indifferent or just quite frankly doesn't care.
Mhm.
But honestly, I think that's just the reality that we have to accept. Not everyone is gonna want to do good for good. Some people just don't care.
That's you and Taylor's problem with me. Her and Taylor always like, oh Jay, you're so that you just don't understand that everyone's not going to be good. That's what they, I hear them in my head saying all the time. I want to believe it. Maybe you all call me delusional or naive or living in my own world, but that's just where I'm at, folks. Maybe y'all feel differently in 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, maybe never. But
I do think people are good though. I'm with you. I do think people are good. It doesn't stop me when people are not good. You know what I mean? Like I think I can be very like, okay,
I feel you.
you know what I mean? Like
I feel you.
I try to be logical about the situation.
But that's the problem. Logic sometimes, it's so we got to go to the comments and we've got our guests coming on.
We do.
I'll say this much, and thank you. This daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. But I think for me is it makes me reevaluate things often. And like I said, for me, it's not about money. It's really about I'm all about impact. If I don't think that I can make a true difference, I'm not going to get involved. That's why I chose coaching and mentoring, because I believe I can make a real difference. I'm not going to go into something where I don't believe I can make that difference. And the difference I want to make is however things were when I got there, whatever the measurement to be better is, that we're better once I'm done, right? Get in, make a difference to make things better, and then move on to the next project. That's how I like to look at things, not about what it does for me or what I can get out of it. But let's go through these final comments, Teray, and then we'll go to the quick short news break and bring our very special guest, Mr. Craig Simmons, onto the show. So we've We did ask time or money. What was the question? What would you rather give your time?
Give time or money. Yeah.
So we've got Sean Smith says we do both.
Excellent.
Okay, we've got Stacey Ann Brown says, I don't mind giving either time or money depending on the need or the situation. Michelle White says, yes, to Ray, depends on the most impactful. Business owners' time has, money value. And so depends on what is needed most. Michelle Doors says, depends on the circumstances and my resources at the time. I believe both are essential. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle White says, I may feel differently about giving time if I was an employee working with a company. Kievan ABDA says, we'll give time, but the time has to have quality. Giving money is only useful when put towards projects that play a big role in positively impacting the community for generations to come. I agree to Ray WKD Lama. And Tanya Cheeseman says, both, whichever is suitable. Indeed. Well, folks, we're going to give some thanks to Titan Express and Secure, and then we'll go to the news break with Simone Vaughn, and then we've got Mr. Craig Simmons coming up after the break.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty. Thanks again to Titan Express and Secure for allowing us to, as Darnell Reyna says, have great conversation, real talk. Depends on the situation. I agree. All right, let's go to Simone Vaughn for Daily Hour news break, and we'll have a new commercial break after that, and then we'll bring on Mr. Craig Simmons after that.
Good morning, Bermuda. Today's news is brought to you by People's Pharmacy. We've always been more than prescriptions. We're your partner in living well. Something new is taking root. Starting off today's news, the Department of Health and the Department of Education recently held a 3-day handwriting without tears workshop, providing professional certification in handwriting for educators and therapists. Led by international instructor Katrina Erickson, the training emphasized the importance of handwriting in developing fine motor, literacy, and learning readiness skills. The Minister of Health, Kim Wilson, highlighted handwriting as a key foundation for literacy, comprehension, and creativity, reinforcing the government's commitment to children's learning and development. Despite advances in technology, the workshop underscored that writing by hand remains essential for engaging brain areas linked to memory and understanding. The event was coordinated by a cross-departmental team from both departments. Continuing with our news for today, the Ministry of Public Works and Environment has extended the public consultation period for Bermuda's Marine Resources Enforcement Strategy until the 13th of November 2025. Following stakeholder requests for more time to provide feedback. The strategy, developed by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources with local and regional partners, outlines a coordinated approach to protecting Bermuda's oceans and marine resources through stronger enforcement and improved compliance. Originally set to close on the 6th of November, the consultation remains open to all residents who are encouraged to review the document and submit their views via the government's online portal at forum.gov.bm. Last in the news for today, a reminder that Remembrance Day holiday is coming up on Tuesday, November 11th, so household waste will not be collected on this Tuesday. Instead, collection will shift to a rollover schedule with Tuesday's waste being picked up on Wednesday and the week concluding with Friday's waste collected on Saturday. Recycling collection remains unchanged with the West End on Thursday and the East End on Friday. The Tynes Bay public drop-off will be open on the holiday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., returning to its normal daily hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now it's time to take a look at the forecast. For the weather today, we're looking at a high of 77 degrees and a low of 75. It will be quite windy with wind gusts reaching up to 35 miles per hour. That's all for the news break today. My name is Simone Vaughn, and thanks for tuning in.
Take a look at our workforce for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Nautical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
At HSBC, how we do business in our community is as important to us as what we do for our community.
We are here at Hungary Bay with HSBC today. We're planted over 500 mangroves using 2 different methods. This work is very vital for our mangrove ecosystem and would not be possible without HSBC's generous support.
I am super happy that we have a team here of colleagues helping us replant some of the mangroves. Mangroves are critical for preserving coastal nature, and with recent hurricanes they have been taken away by waves. By replanting them, we are really helping nature be at its best.
Thank you so much for HSBC for sponsoring the Microforest Project, but by extension, the Hungary Bay Restoration Project.
Thank you to all of the charities, corporate partners, and HSBC volunteers for your commitment to our community.
SCARS stands for Saving Children and Revealing Secrets, and we are a Bermuda nonprofit organization whose mission is to reduce the risk of child sexual abuse and to be an advocate and a voice for children who've been sexually molested, as well as their affected family. New media like the Daily Hour is really important in partnering with organizations like SCARS. It's another platform for us for awareness. There can be no radio silence as it relates to child sexual abuse, and we need as many initiatives as we can get. We need to keep this message alive. In terms of us and the work that we do, live engagement is good because it allows the audience to ask questions, to make comments, even to provide us with encouragement and support. What I love about the live engagement when SCARS is being interviewed by Jamel is just this feeling of safety, this feeling that he gets it. He cares about children. It's a connection.
Welcome back to the Big Show. Today, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, please, if you haven't already, this is the final week that you'll have the chance to fill out the survey. A lot of you filled it out over the weekend. We appreciate and are grateful for that. Teray, you filled out the survey?
I did. The first day it was released. I do my homework on time. Thank you.
My goodness. Gee, in our face. Well, folks, if you haven't done your homework on time, please make sure you go on our website, thedailyhour.com, do the survey. This is your final week. We've already given away one prize, right? I think Zena, Dr. Zena, you were first. So we've got many more to give, and we'll start giving those out probably this Friday and into next week. All right. So we have a lot to give away. So again, if you haven't already, please fill out our survey. All right, folks, without further ado, it's time to bring on our very special guest. Before we do that, let's go through these few sandwiches, though. We did ask, what's your favorite sandwich? And Ellen Kate Horton said peanut butter and crispy bacon on toasted raisin bread. Okay. I'm down with the peanut butter and toasted raisin bread.
I've seen her eat that, and she really enjoys it. Miss Ellen Kate really enjoys that sandwich.
Okay. How about roast beef with melted Swiss lettuce, tomato, and mayo on a raisin roll?
I like that one.
Okay. We've got pastrami and rye. Okay. Okay. All right. We've got Kenya cheese at peanut butter and banana on toast. Okay. We've got Suzanne Ingham says griddled cheese fried egg. Okay. Okay. We've got Laverne Tucker says grilled ham, cheese, tomato. And do we have any more? Sorry. I don't see. I can fill out. No, that's survey.
No, I don't think so. I think that's all the sandwich orders.
All right, we've got all our sandwich orders. Well, let's give a warm TDH welcome to probably the most requested person in Bermuda to come on a daily hour. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Mr. Craig Simmons. Greetings, sir. How are you? There we go. There we go. There we go. We love to see it. I've got a new one for you, though. Sir. Got a new one for you. We got to get to a new one. Teray, sorry. Teray doesn't have one. He doesn't have one.
Yeah, I just have my school one.
Yeah, we're working on her, Mr. Simmons. We're working on her. We got to actually, before we jump into the serious stuff, though, you heard them making fun of my sandwich. What's your favorite sandwich?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Ooh.
He went classic.
That's a good one.
Classic.
At my age, I got to be really careful. You know, once you become a senior citizen, you got to cut back on the bread. You got to cut back on the sugars, the alcohol. Life becomes really, really boring.
Yeah. I'm not a senior yet, and I've had to cut back. So yeah, I get it, sir. I get it. But first of all, thanks again for making time for us and having these conversations. I'm not sure if you heard any of our conversation earlier, but we were talking about pretty much charity and giving back at the time right now where so many in the United States, there are people who are making some decisions as far as helping those whose benefits ended this past weekend on November 1st. There are people who are making donations to people in the Caribbean and Jamaica in particular to what happened during the hurricane. There's a lot going on. Where do you stand on charity right now, just based on our conversation in terms of people being able to give time and money to help those in need?
Well, in the work that I do as a teacher, I'm teaching a course in January but it's the 6th iteration of it, an international reinsurance course. And the great contribution is time. We have, chief executives of the major reinsurance companies in Bermuda giving up their time and sharing that information with Bermuda public. I should add that the course is free. So time, I think, is your greatest asset. And so I have a lot of time, as it were, for people who are willing to give up their time. Arguably, we don't do enough, but I'm very proud to say that this sort of reinsurance, this Bermuda College reinsurance initiative that we've been doing for the last couple of years, well, a couple of my students that graduated in 2018 are mentors to my present day students. Again, they're giving up their time. And I've in fact threatened last couple of years worth of students and said, well, I'm going to be knocking on your doors in a couple of years time, expecting you to give time and some money. And there's only one answer that I'll accept. Two, yes, and how much?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I agree. I mean, again, I think Rosalind Famous has said it in our audience before, and I take it further in my book. It's just time is the most valuable thing we all have. So thank you for that. Jumping into today's conversation, Mr. Simmons, the economy is top of mind for everyone. I've watched over the last few days about 2 or 3 times a conversation that Abby Phillip, the most brilliant journalist to me in the United States of America today on the Breakfast Club, and she touched on the economy a bit as well as it relates to the United States and Mr. Trump's tariffs and the like. Obviously Bermuda, I said the saying last week. What is it? America cold sneezes, Bermuda catches a cold, or something like that. But seeing what's going on in the United States, seeing what's going on throughout the world, how would you describe Bermuda's current economic landscape, and what are the biggest pressures ordinary residents are feeling right now?
Well, arguably, Bermuda is suffering from a thing called Dutch disease. In a nutshell, Dutch disease is when a sector of the economy is doing really, really well, international business, but that has unintended consequences of making it more expensive for everyone else. So we've seen that this happen in the city of London with the booming financial services sector. We've seen it happen in Silicon Valley with real estate prices. And as we speak, it is happening in Guyana because they recently discovered a lot of oil and natural gas. And so whilst life is affordable for many folks in Guyana now, in 10 years' time, I can see the tensions that those folks who don't work in the oil and gas industry are going to be suffering. They're going to get left behind. We see that happening in Bermuda, where the division is between blue collar and white collar workers. So since about 20, you can go back to the start of this century, blue collar wages have not kept up with the cost of living. They have declined by double digits over that 25-year period. Whereas white collar salaries are, increasing faster than the cost of living. Those folks are doing quite well. If you think about international business as a broad category, the median salary, the average salary, is north of $170,000. And if you go into drill down into the reinsurance sector, it's probably north of 200,000. Whereas folks in the hospitality sector, they're struggling to earn $40,000. So you've got these two Bermudas. And my concern is that the sense of fairness. I mean, we all accept that some folks are going to make more than others. If a person works hard and they do well, we tend not to have a problem with it. But there are limits to this. I think there are Bermudians who work very, very hard in construction and hospitality, and they're not seeing the benefits. We tell young people, do your best, work hard, the runs will come. But for many blue collar workers, and they make up the majority of our population, things are not going well for them. And this sense of unfairness is unfortunately opening the door for a populist kind of leader. You alluded to a populist leader in the pawn to our west, who's creating all sorts of problems. Well, I think, being Bermuda, if we're not careful, this sense of unfairness that is already palpable, if folks give up hope, that's an important part of life. The belief that my children will do better, I can do better if I work hard. When people lose that, really the social contract, that thing that binds us as Bermuda residents, tends to fray. And I fear that the 21st century has been testing Bermudians' belief that the future can, in fact, be brighter.
Audience, real quickly, Therese, if you have any questions or comments for Mr. Simmons, you can send them through, and we'll try to get through as many questions and comments as possible.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. And more on this concept of fairness, we're hearing a lot about the new Affordable Bermuda Basket initiative. Can you explain to the audience how this scheme works and what kind of real difference it could make for families at checkout, particularly considering the big disparities in income?
So this basket idea came out of the cost of living summit that was held earlier this year. It applies to grocery stores. alone. And I believe it's only in place up until July of next year. And it's focused on a limited basket of goods at places like Lindo's and Marketplace. And I mean, it's coming from a good place. Um, I've had conversations with supermarket owners, managers. These are good people. One of them wrote me, after the cost of living summit, wrote me a long note expressing his concern, his deep concern about blue collar workers, because I was a speaker at the cost of living summit, and I talked about the disparity between blue and white. And this particular supermarket executive was moved. I got the sense that it hit him in the gut that the majority of Bermuda's population are struggling to buy groceries at his store, and he's desperate to come up with ideas. Now you might just say, well, just keep your prices low. Well, the grocery store business is a low margin business. It is not like I think most people probably have these debit cards. It is not like the debit card business. The debit card business is a high margin business. I mean, the margins that debit card companies like Visa and MasterCard are making, the markups are higher than the markups that a drug dealer can charge for his cocaine or his drugs of choice. It is that bad. But we don't see Visa and MasterCard as being villains. But yet we look at grocery store owners struggling, low margins. It's a tough business to be in. If you want to be rich, I mean, there are better ways to go. Just put your money in an index fund and ride the wave of NVIDIAs and Amazons and Facebooks and, be cool. I have a lot of time and respect for the people in the grocery business, and believe you me, they are trying. It isn't easy, and they are participating, but that's not the solution. This is just a short term. It's a band-aid to a problem that is deep-seated in Bermuda. To give you some historical context, in the 1920s, which was 100 years ago, Bermudians farmed over 3,000 acres. Yeah, over 3,000 acres of farmland. We were exporting food to New York City. Yeah, major exporters. The people in New York, because trains hadn't been developed by that time, so Bermuda had an advantage when it came to getting food into New York City. Come forward to 2025, and we're down to like 350, 360 acres. We've made a switch. We sort of, those golf courses, one of my colleagues, their father sold huge tracts of land that are now Belmont Golf Course. They did well. His wife was very happy that her husband was selling the land because, farming is hard work.
Right.
In fact, the lowest paying jobs in Bermuda right now are farmers and fishermen. They're at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder.
And some of the most important.
The most important, because I can go without a lot of things. I mean, the hurricane meant that I didn't have access to the internet as of Friday. And I can tell you right now, I've had like the best time since Friday. Yeah, no internet. I only got it last night because I hit the panic button. It's like, I got to have internet because I got to do the show in the morning.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for you, I would just continue with my happy life. I've got books behind me, books beside me, books above. I was just having a ball. In fact, I hope the internet goes down again so that I can retreat. Yeah, we reward these folks with top salaries, but farmers, the lifeblood of any society, they're the worst paid. And so we wonder why, we can't grow enough. Chris Faria, he runs, is it Agri Living?
Yeah.
God, you want to talk about donating time? this brother man donates huge amounts of his time and energy to young people, showing us another way how to sort of get a backyard garden going. He obviously is passionate about what he does, and we need to give him props. We need to listen. The thing is, we live in a society where we expect things to happen quickly. And here's one of the biggest secrets around. It takes time for crops to grow. If you put something in the ground today, the quickest one would be what, 6-week beans? 6 weeks. Most crops are going to take 2-3 months. Onions 6, 7, 8, 9 months. These things take time. You have to have patience, and we seem to be short on patience. So Chris Faria, Agri Living, hit him up. If you want ideas, he comes out and he just gives his knowledge away for free.
Yeah, he's been on this show, I think at least once, but probably twice, and he's literally doing the work of the community. He's not, and it's the kind of empowerment that I like. It's not charity, it's empowerment, right? Empowering people. And when I say the difference is, he's showing you how to do it without him.
Yes.
He's showing you, he's not giving you money or time. He's sharing his time to show you how you can do for self. And I think that's what I enjoy so much about him. Yeah. Keep your questions and comments coming, audience. We'll get to you. Trust me, we'll get to you. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love that you made the distinction between the grocers and the Visa and MasterCards of the world, because I hadn't even thought of it that way. I mean, I think the reason people are so angry or frustrated when they go to the grocery store is they can't hide their cost, like Visa and MasterCard. Like you can see an egg that is like $11 when a year ago you remember it was 7. So with these food prices and the cost of living still high, what are some other practical steps from policy to community action that could help ease the financial strain on Bermudians?
Yeah, so I'm a fan of targeting people who need it the most. So Craig Simmons does not need the government's help when it comes to electricity, food. I don't need it. In fact, it angers me when I see the finance minister giving me a break on gasoline. I mean, I don't even own a car, but still, someone with a Mercedes Benz pulls up to the gas station and they are in fact getting a tax cut on their gasoline. That just doesn't make sense to me. We're taking taxpayer money and giving it to someone that drives a Benz. Really, that just doesn't make sense to me. Or someone who drives to the grocery store in their Benz and then is buying groceries that are, free of duty. You're giving the people tax cuts who don't need it. It would make more sense to take those monies and target it at the people that live, say, below or at the poverty line. And we can come up with a rough estimate or rough definition of what the poverty line is. The median income, called the average, is about $70,000 for each individual. Most people see the poverty line as being between a half, 2/3 of that median. So if we do really simple arithmetic, 70,000 median, half of that median is $35,000. People that are making $35,000 or less, target our tax dollars at those folks, giving them the help that they need. I would say doing what the Brazilians did. It's called Bolsa Familia. It's cash payments. You can put it on their debit card or their marketplace card or their Lindo's card, where they use it when they go to the grocery store. That would go a long way to helping the people that need it the most. Craig Simmons does not need any help like that. So take our tax dollars, because we don't have an infinite supply of tax dollars. Take those tax dollars and focus them on the folks at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. And there are other things that you can do, because this solution of targeting people at the bottom is short term. Just like growing vegetables, you need to think long term. So Education. You look at the state of men in Bermuda or boys in Bermuda. We're not doing well. Bermuda is one of the only places that I know of where women on average make more than men. And it's been this way since 2009. Now, that's a good thing, sort of, if you're female. But when you dig deeper as to the causes, what's going on, it's because men are doing so badly, and particularly Black men. And here's the other thing. Men globally are going through, I think this word gets overused, a crisis. Korean men, American men, I mean, just look to the West. The reason why there's a certain person in the White House is largely because men are feeling like their quote unquote manhood has been threatened and they want to reclaim it. They're suffering from this thing called loss aversion. And they are willing to do anything, normally the wrong thing, to get their power back. So targeting our boys, particularly the young ones. So there's a number of programs. One that comes to mind first was tried in the 60s in the United States. So I think it was called the Moynihan program. Please don't ask me to spell it. The British took it up. The Labour government in Britain took it up in 1999 under the name Sure Start, S-U-R-E, Start. Hopefully you guys have got your bots up and running so you can.
Hey,
I'm on it. I'm on it.
See, you're on it? Yeah, Sure Start. It was a program started in the UK 1999 and went maybe probably not even for a decade. And it targeted low-income families, okay, children from 0 to 5, because a lot of the problems that we have start at birth. So if you really want to help people, you've got to get them prepared to go to school. How do you do that? You start at birth. Middle-class parents have many of the advantages. So they speak to their children a certain way. They don't do that baby talk. You know, I don't understand why people talk to babies like they're babies. You know, talk to them like you hear people talk on CNN or whatever.
Yeah.
Use those long words on them. You'll be surprised. They're a lot smarter than you. They will understand them. And so the Sure Start program tries to prepare 0 to 5-year-olds to survive in the world. And how do they do it? They do it by community outreach. So how would it work in Bermuda? Think of a deprived neighborhood like Middletown. You would have a community center in Middletown that would offer parental support, child care, basically a wraparound service that supports people who don't have the means to support themselves. Basically giving low-income people the tools that many middle-class parents give to their kids. My sense is that you guys grew up in you know, pretty good households. You know what it is. You know what good parenting is about. But I've been in the teaching profession for about 40 years. I remember when I first started, there was a thing called PET, Parent Effectiveness Training. We identified 40 years ago that some parents don't have a clue. And it reveals itself in the behaviors of the children when they come to school, or the behaviors of the adults when they get into antisocial behavior. You know, what we're seeing today is a case of chickens coming home to roost. We've got a multi-generational situation where folks have not been given the guidance that they need to function in a sophisticated society. And so this thing called Sure Start wasn't designed for Black kids. The Moynihan program in the United States in '65 was designed for Black kids, or for what was then called Negro children. The British government took it up and they just wanted it to deal with poverty. What was interesting about Sure Start is that middle-class parents very quickly said, wait a minute, this sounds like a great idea. Can you please set up a Sure Start community center in our neighborhood? Because they could see the benefits of having these kinds of supports in their community. And so the downside of something like this, it's really expensive. And the reason why Sure Start died was that the governments that came after the Blair government felt, this is too much money to be spending on poor people. Long and short, if we are serious about breaking this cycle of poor male performance, whether it be at high school, in the job market, we're going to have to spend a crap load of money to address it. This is where money comes in. And you're also going to need people's time. And the results. So if you're looking at the research around the Sure Start program, the research that was conducted by the Institute for Fiscal Studies, I mean, this research has only recently come out. Remember, the program started at the beginning of the 21st century. And what, 24 years later, we're seeing the benefits of it. So the kids that lived in the area of a Sure Start program, so they didn't even have to go to the program. As long as they lived in the area, their educational outcomes far superior to those kids who didn't go to the program. Their incomes, it's such a positive program for turning society around. The problem is, it's like planting carrots today. You're not going to get them for 3 months. And, there is this thing called a political cycle. So the politicians have got to go to the polls to convince you to vote for them in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of years. This cycle that I'm talking about, it's a generational thing. So assuming that we had the solution to this problem today, you would not see the results of this remedy for 15, 16, 20 years. Now, if I'm a politician, I'm trying to get reelected, it's a nice idea, but I got to get elected next week.
And one day Bermuda, just want to say that, it says we're governing for election cycles, not the long term, and economic policies support that. And that's to your point.
Yeah. So, but we had, as the electorate, I suppose, have to grow up and realize, let's think long term. We have to think long term. We didn't get here by accident. I mean, you think about the successes of the Bermuda educational situation, Bermuda Technical Institute. Now, there's probably very few people on this call that remember BTI, Bermuda Technical Institute. It was closed. It was successful. Maybe one of the most successful educational institutions Bermuda has ever created, but it was closed. I mean, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but my sense is that must have been a very expensive school to run. If you talk to the people that went to that school, the equipment, they had lathes, welding equipment, motors. It must have been really, really expensive to run. And so a Sure Start program is similarly, it's going to be expensive to run. It will have to run 365 days a year for decades. Now, who is willing to commit to 365 days a year for the next 20 years? I don't know any politician who would make that kind of commitment. But I think we, the electorate, have to raise our game by educating ourselves and putting the pressure on politicians and saying, look, we've got to get out of this 2 to 3 year cycle and start thinking not 2, but 20 years.
I want to go to the audience real quickly because we've got a lot coming from the audience. So we've got Ramon Woods. He says, with the change in population demographics, current native birth rates, immigration, would you consider that Bermuda is in a paradigm shift? What is your prediction for future population demographics?
What we're experiencing in Bermuda. So I would encourage people. I just gave away the book. I normally don't do that kind of thing, but the person I gave it to was worthy of receiving it. This guy, Richard Reeves, and I would encourage your listeners to look up Richard Reeves, Reeves, recently wrote a book called A Boys and Men. You can also catch him on YouTube, and he did a wonderful interview on the Freakonomics radio network, people I mostly admire. What he observes is that men around the world are doing poorly. So this is not something, it's not a Bermudian problem. It is a male problem. So that's the first thing. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can look at, well, how other countries are dealing with this situation. With respect to demographics, maybe the country that we should be looking very closely at would be the Japanese. Not that they have the solution to the problem, but they are further down the road with the problem. The Japanese population is declining. They have issues with immigration. They don't like foreigners. And you know, they're refusing to sort of do the paradigm shift. They're refusing to allow other Asians to immigrate to Japan. And you know, we Bermudians are sort of stuck in a similar situation. So again, we're not reinventing the wheel. There are other countries that are going exactly, well, not exactly, but close to what we're going through. The Japanese, South Korea is going through a similar thing. Most countries, China even is going through this problem. And how do you deal with it? Yeah, I mean, I'm part of the problem. I mean, I'm in my 672nd day of retirement, having a ball at your expense. I mean, the 15th of the month is coming around, and I'm going to get some shekels from you guys. Thank you very much for the young people. And then at the end of the month, I get my superannuation. You know, and I really feel guilty. Like, I've had a great life, and now it's even better. I don't have to go to work. I could sit here and read and have a grand time, and money just keeps rolling in. But at whose expense? The money's coming from somewhere. Some people would say, oh, well, you know, you've already paid your dues. No. Paid my dues. The education system, you know, it hasn't gotten much better from when I started. So I don't know what dues I'm paying. We've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You know, paradigm, I think, is the right way of thinking it. Because the paradigm is a frame of reference. So there's one paradigm that me as a man, because I have testicles and a penis, should be the head of my household. You know, women, I think it's pretty clear that women are smarter than men. And I'm not saying that to pander. I see it all around me. I saw it in my family. My mother was very good at dealing with my father. She was a lot smarter than him. She pandered to him, made him believe that, you know, he was in control. But she ran things. Yeah. By the time my father figured it out, it was too late. But this idea that because I'm a man, you know, it goes to the question of masculinity. And there are, one of my former students, he wrote a very good piece in the Royal Gazette, Taj Dunville Outerbridge. Yeah, did a really good piece on comparing the post-colonial theorist. I'm sorry, I'm going down a wormhole. Post-colonial theory with coloniality. And it was like thank you, Taj, for sort of giving me the tools to deconstruct my masculinity and think about masculinities. Another one would be Tyrone Douglas, who sort of is attempting to deconstruct and open our minds to these sort of 21st century concepts, or concepts that should have been in existence since the beginning of time. That, you know, men are struggling. I had a conversation with my granddaughter the other day. I said to her, you know, I'm really jealous of women, because women can have intimate conversations. Women can hold hands and not be accused of being a faggot. You know, they can be intimate with one another, share stories. And I said to her, you know, geez, man, I really look at you guys, because being men, we don't do that. And it might help explain our physical and mental health issues, that we don't hold hands, we don't talk. And I mean, I've told a couple of men in the last little while, like, I love them. And it brings tears to their eyes. And I'm thinking, why are you crying? I love you.
Yeah.
You should be happy. But we don't tell one another
Yeah.
this information. We don't have that kind of intimacy.
But a quick question. You're saying men. Is it black men or is it men in general, you believe?
Men in general.
Okay.
It's a masculine problem.
Yeah. We have a lot of questions, Mr. Sims.
I'm sorry. I'm rambling.
No, but it's good ramble. It's good. It's good. It's good. Don't worry.
I know you had something from the audience.
Yeah, we have Charles H. Jeffers II who's asking, does Mr. Simmons agree that payroll tax breaks for guest workers sending a significant portion of their salary home in the form of remittances doesn't help our economy? Should we be tracking how much money is being sent home?
Okay. So I'm going to go down another wormhole.
Please.
Because I want people to see this from 35,000 feet, and then we can come closer to Earth. So there's a document that I think people should be aware of. It's called the Balance of Payments. It's published by the Department of Statistics. And in it, it keeps a record of all the foreign currency that is coming into Bermuda via things like international business and tourism. And another one is investment income that Bermudians are earning on stock exchanges around the world. And what's flowing out. What's flowing out, number one, merchandise. So this computer I'm on, it was imported. So that's a merchandise import. That's money going out. A couple of weeks ago, I flew up to Toronto to hang out with my grandkids. Wonderful human beings. That is an import of tourism. So when a Bermudian gets on a plane, and Bermudians take in excess of 120,000 vacations a year, not business trips, vacations a year, that is in fact an import of tourism. When a tourist comes to Bermuda, that's an export. So exports are whenever you're earning foreign currency, imports are whenever we're losing foreign currency. So we're losing a lot of foreign currency when Bermudians take vacations and business trips, like, they're going out of style. So if you want to talk about money flowing out of Bermuda, every time you travel and you go overseas or you go to a Broadway musical, that's money leaking out of Bermuda. But I digress. So when you compare the amount of foreign currency flowing into Bermuda, it's in the region of just over $3 billion worth of foreign currency coming into Bermuda. And then if you look at all the foreign currency flowing out, it's about $2 billion. So if you think about the foreign currency coming in as an export, international business, tourism, investment income, and what's flowing out as an import, overseas travel, merchandise, the difference between what we export and what we import, we're left with about $1 billion. Yeah. Like to the positive. So essentially we're exporting more than we import. The United States of America would love to be in that position. They haven't been there since about the 1970s. The British would love to be in that situation. They haven't been there except maybe 1 or 2 times since the 70s. If you go to an Economist magazine, you look at the financial indicators at the back, you scroll down what's called the current account, the balance of payments current account. Most countries are in deficit. Bermuda has the distinction of being in surplus, and our surpluses are huge. Our surpluses are on par with Singapore, Norway, Hong Kong, Denmark. There are only a handful of countries on planet Earth that can boast a surplus in terms of foreign currency than Bermuda. To give you a layman's perspective, I like to drink coffee. I go to Rock Island Coffee. They don't accept debit cards put out by MasterCard and Visa, those evil people. Got to pay cash. So I was in there the other day, and I had just gotten my pension, so I was feeling rich. I had a Bermuda $20 bill, and I was getting my double macchiato, which cost about $5 and change. So I handed over my Bermuda $20 bill, and for change, I got US currency. Where else on planet Earth do you give local currency to an entrepreneur and receive in change US dollars. There's got to be only one reason why that's the case. US dollars, Bermuda is flush with foreign currency. You can go to a taxi driver this afternoon or this morning and have your 500 Bermuda dollars, and that taxi driver will gladly exchange those 500 Bermuda dollars for 500 US dollars.
Real quickly, I want to there because I want to get through as many comments real quickly.
Yes.
I have another one from Lamont Woods. He says, what actually happens when there are more expats, since you mentioned Singapore and these other countries, what happens when there are more expats / foreign workers in a country than natives? What are the effects of policy, politics, and culture? And I believe Cayman Islands, this is the case, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So I think our foreign population is about 25%, a quarter of our workforce. It's up. It's increased about 25%. My point is this: those couple of shekels that people are sending home are not the problem. Yeah. When you see your access to US dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem. When you go to the balance of payments and you see that it's no longer in surplus, and I'm not talking small surplus, I'm talking about a surplus of over $1 billion, 15% of GDP, that's when you have a problem. I don't believe that we should be picking up nickels when we're allowing dollars to sort of fly out the window. And in many ways, that's what we're doing by giving people like Craig Simmons tax breaks. I think that's a more serious problem for us to tackle. If some Filipinos in Bermuda and he's sending money home, I mean, God bless him, because he's given up stuff. I can hang around my grandchildren, have a good time. He's probably not seen his grandchild in eons, probably not going to be able to see them for Christmas. I have a lot of sympathy for those folks. So let's not become like those people to the west of us, those Trumpians who want to vilify the powerless, because that's the problem that I have with populism. You tend to go after the people who are least able to survive. So you cancel food stamps. It's SNAP, in the US. So you're going to give tax breaks to rich folks, but you're going to cancel food stamps. That's what I hear when we say, well, don't allow these poor workers to send money back home. Thinking, really? Is that where we are? That bothers me. That's why I'm pushing back so vehemently against that.
Audience, Terea,
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. I want to shift gears a bit to talk about like the rising costs globally, and ask you, how do rising global cost and supply chain issues, whether that's because of the Ukraine war, Gaza, how does that affect a small island like Bermuda with our economy? And are there any local strategies or cushions that we can use to kind of mitigate those effects?
So yeah, you hit the nail on the head. We are a part of this global economy. We sort of opened ourselves up by getting rid of those 3,000 acres of land, by becoming totally dependent on oil for our electricity, because most of the electricity that we're consuming nowadays in Bermuda, in excess of 90%, is produced by burning fossil fuels. Bermuda doesn't have oil. So we are really open to whatever's happening in the global economy. If there's a war in Ukraine, we feel it. And that is, there's a good side of it, because when there are wars and rumors of wars and fires in Los Angeles and all hell breaking loose in the rest of the world, you do realize that in many ways Bermuda benefits. Our number one industry is reinsurance. If the world was a lovely place, people wouldn't need insurance, and we wouldn't be able to afford just about anything. But I think I digress. So there is the good, the bad, the ugly of being open to the rest of the world. The good is that we make a heck of a lot of money from the troubles that you see in the world. The LA fires, you name a catastrophe, and Bermuda has a hand in helping the people to recover, but we also make a crap load of money from the premiums that are paid when things don't go bad. So, I mean, that's the good. The ugly is that once you're open to the rest of the world, as the United States is open to the rest of the world, there are some unintended consequences. In the United States, many of the manufacturing jobs were outsourced to China and Southeast Asia. And now you have the kickback from Trumpians that the Asians stole our jobs. Well, they stole your jobs. That's an interesting concept. Someone stole, that's a weird thing. You're participating in a game, and then when the game doesn't go your way, you pout. We have opened ourselves up to a global economy, and so we've got to come up with buffers, with shock absorbers that will allow us to deal with these shocks whenever they happen. So what will those shocks look like? Well, number one, you need a first-class education system that gives everybody the best chance that they can have to survive in this global economy, because that's what we have. Yeah. What would those shock absorbs look like? Like, at the cost of living summit, we talked about farming, but unfortunately, I don't know whether you've been down to people like Tom Watson. The food at Tom Watson's farm is expensive, and the people that go to Tom Watson's farm tend to be middle-class people, because working-class people can't afford Tom Watson's food because it's organic and all that kind of stuff. So, we've got to come up with innovative ways. What those innovative ways look like, other than suggesting backyard farming, shore fishing, but these are not what we would call sustainable options. With respect to energy, how do we produce local energy, solar energy? This is something that came up at the cost of living summit. So solar energy is an obvious option for Bermuda. Here's the problem. The people that can afford solar energy tend to be middle-class people. Those middle-class people, as they leave the grid and enjoy their solar energy, they are making it more expensive for the people that are on the grid, because the people that remain on the grid have to cover the high fixed costs that Belco has to deal with. So it's called a
subsidy?
Oh boy. No, it's not. It's the opposite of it. It's a death spiral.
Death spiral?
A death spiral. A utility death spiral. Can someone check their
On it.
You're on it? Boy. Utility death spiral.
Utility death spiral is where utilities customer base and revenue decline, forcing it to raise prices for remaining customers, which then encourages even more customers to leave.
Yeah. So as middle-class folks, I'm not knocking middle-class people, install solar panels on their roofs, doing right by themselves and their families, the people who can't afford to do this solar thing are faced with higher fixed costs, which Belco now has to pass on to these working class families. So Belco was built for a population of 70,000. We're not at 70,000. The fixed costs have to be covered. So who are those fixed costs going to be covered by? The people that are left. That is the death spiral, which was brought up at the Cost of Living Summit. And it's something that we as a people need to understand. A policy to deal with it? Well, maybe some of our tax dollars should be used to put solar panels on the roofs of low-income people, so that they can, in fact, leave the grid. The problem is you don't really get away from the death spiral as such. Where there aren't, my point is this, there are no easy solutions to these situations. In many ways, we painted ourselves into a corner, and getting out of these corners is going to require patience on the part of people, sacrifice, and a recognition that there are no guarantees. So when people make a policy suggestion and it doesn't go the way you want it to go, please don't, ridicule them for having made a bad decision. Because then you sort of encourage people not to be innovative, not to be creative. Everyone gets frightened because they're afraid of making an error.
Yeah.
And I see that happening in politics, where with the airport, where we ridicule the OBA for having done what they did with the airport. It's like, well, okay, so maybe you don't agree, or what's it just goes on. It just bothers me that politicians, gotta love them, unfortunately, take every opportunity to down the other side. You have to think, well, either they're idiots or they think that we're idiots. And we need to convince them that we are not idiots and treat us treat us with some intelligence. Sorry, I've gone off again.
That was gold. Jamel, I can't hear you.
Testing. You can't hear me?
Yep, you're back.
Oh, I was saying we don't do a good job collectively of letting politicians know that we're not idiots, and I think that's part of the problem. We don't do a good job collectively of letting them know. But Teray, you have some comments from the audience. Let's get through some of these real quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm gonna start with.
Oh no, I'm sorry, guys. It's
No, it's all
almost
good. People are
9:30.
very receptive to everything that you're saying. It's all good. Philip Trop says, "I always hear about how beneficial tech was. Been hearing it for years. If that's the case, why hasn't the government brought it back?"
The thing is, the Bermuda Technical Institute didn't just spring out of nothing. It was, in many ways, a continuation of the dockyard. So Bermuda's first university was arguably the dockyard. The dockyard was created in the early 1800s. Actually, it was created to launch an invasion against the United States of America. In fact, the last time the United States of America was invaded was from Bermuda. But anyway, let's not let that out in the open. So they built this dockyard. They needed to build it. They needed expertise. They used a lot of Bermudian expertise. Both my grandfathers, Richmond James Kennedy Simmons, was a shipwright trained in the dockyard. Horace Francis Leopold Musson was a machinist trained in the dockyard. The dockyard was our university. It created the tradespeople that made Bermuda great. Well, the war ended and they wound the thing down, but it's the genesis for creating a Bermuda Technical Institute lay in the dockyard, that great institution that produced our tradespeople, mainly men. And so this Bermuda Technical Institute grew out of something. My point is this: there isn't any sort of connective tissue between Bermuda Technical Institute and where we are today. It means basically starting afresh. It was a great sin to close that place. Just like in the United Kingdom, it was a great sin to cancel Sure Start, because we can see in hindsight the benefits that Sure Start had for poor people in the United Kingdom. We see the benefits that the Bermuda Technical Institute and the dockyard had for the people of Bermuda, but it's only in hindsight. Yeah. So this is where long-termism comes in. You've got to imagine yourself 20 years down the road, and you want to look back and see certain things. Well, in 20 years, when you're looking back, what do you want to see? You want to see a Bermuda Technical Institute or some variant of it. Okay, so what do we need to do today to make that reality happen? It's going to take a generation to get this thing up and running, but we lack the patience, we lack the fortitude to make things happen. We want to be able to put it in the microwave, push a button, and out it comes in 30 seconds.
Indeed.
That's our problem.
Indeed. You got something more from the audience?
Yeah, there's one more from Lamoon Woods. He says, last question. Are the current trends sustainable? What will be the number one indicator that we are at the point of no return? I think this is in relation to the population and demographics.
Okay. No, we better. I think that the situation in Japan gives me hope, because Japan has been on this downward trajectory for decades. They've been talking about Japan falling off a cliff for easily. I mean, Japan went into a recession in 1992. They've basically been in recession since 1992. Still a very nice place. People are nice. They don't like foreigners, but you know, these predictions of doom and gloom have not materialized in that particular society. So I'm not going to go, you know, doom and gloom down some Malthusian, you know, dark hole to say, yeah, we're going to go off the cliff at point X. No, I don't see that happening. The problem with me saying that is that folks will say, oh, well, we got more time. I like Lamont's point that we need to act as if we're on the edge of a cliff, because it seems to be only then that urgency kicks in. It's like with the hurricane. Hurricane's coming. We dig down. But having said that, think about how Bermudians over the years have been able to create an environment where there is no better place on planet Earth to endure a hurricane than here. What was it about Bermudian culture that got us to this point where we would spend huge resources putting a slate roof on a concrete block structure to weather a hurricane from time to time? You know, like what was it? Because I'm speaking to some forward thinking that Bermudians have adopted.
Right.
What is it about Bermudians that got us to this point where we could, you know, basically brush aside a category 2 hurricane? You know, why didn't we build sort of less robust structures to deal with hurricanes? Something, you know, I don't know.
Sounds
Can
like
can we take that stuff and use it to deal with the social dysfunction that we see in Bermuda? That urgency to act before it's too late. Because there are 2 Bermudas. There is one that is resilient and innovative. International business is resilient and innovative. Yeah. They've survived 9/11. They've survived the Los Angeles fires. They just keep surviving no matter what catastrophe is thrown at it. The reinsurance industry in Bermuda is able to deal with it. But there's a working class part of Bermuda that's really tired of holding on for dear life. And they're really hoping that things are going to get better, but things aren't getting any better. The 21st century blue collar salaries have continued to decline.
On that note, we got to head out, but I didn't have this, but you just made me think of this. And I think it would be unfair to have a conversation about anything to do with the economy without touching on this, Mr. Simmons. You just mentioned the blue collar economy. You mentioned reinsurance being resilient. In the United States, I believe we had a conversation on this show last week about the job losses. Amazon, thousands saying that 75% is being reported up, 75% of their their jobs are going to be AI related. Again, going back to the America sneezes, we catch a cold in Bermuda. We haven't really seen that stuff. We're already challenged, and we haven't even really seen the day where AI is going to come in. We haven't faced that. And when you look at it, well, most of the jobs that may be available actually may be blue collar going forward in a small community like Bermuda.
Yes.
You've also spoken to it to say that, you know, our way out of this is going to be through entrepreneurship. There are so many people. I spoke about this last week. I'm not sure if Teray was on or not. I've come across quite a few young people who have finished college recently, and they're turning down opportunities because it's not in what they studied. And that was so different, because when I was graduating, I was like, oh, I want to work in what I do, but or what I want, but I'm also going to take opportunities to learn different things. The attitude seems to have changed from younger graduates that I've come into contact with as well. We're facing the perfect storm coming forward, right? When it comes to what the job market's going to look like in a Bermuda, what opportunities are going to look like in Bermuda when technology really comes in and steamrolls. And we cannot run from it. We can't be, oh, well, they just need to ban it. But people are saying, hey, we need to have some regulation around it. Is regulation going to scare off the companies that bring so much wealth into Bermuda? What does that Bermuda look like? How can Bermuda deal with that as it comes? Because Teray, she finishes school next year, I think, right? One of the most brilliant minds I've had the pleasure of working with. But is she going to have opportunities? Is she going to have to create her own opportunities? Is she going to? It's not looking good. And this is not to fearmonger or scare people, but if we're honest, capitalism, even again, just Abby Phillip in my mind, just describing Donald Trump, like the terrorist things. This hasn't benefited the people; it's benefited billionaires. It hasn't helped bring down anything. And then with the allowance of his new friends from Meta and Amazon and all these people who have said, "Oh, I better get on that side for it doesn't mess with my business." How is this going to impact Bermuda?
So I talked about masculinity. Now, most men, like 90% of men, 99% of men, are having a rough time. There is that 1% that you mentioned, these tech titans who live in a very different world, and they are using their power to create barriers that will prevent us from doing anything about it. So technology and power. We've been sort of through this before with the Industrial Revolution, because when the Industrial Revolution came along, it was a horrible, horrible time. Children were used in mines. It took a good 50 to 100 years before the benefits of the Industrial Revolution revealed themselves. Yeah, we are the beneficiaries of it. All this crap that we enjoy right now is a product of the Industrial Revolution. And unfortunately, because these few men are driving things, they are going to make things horrible for the 99%, because governments appear impotent to their powers. Yeah, I mean the Jeff Bezoses, the companies, the Nvidias, you name them. They rule the world. Yeah. They run the place, and they are doing what is in their self-interest. And for me, that's not capitalism. That is crony capitalism, where a few people have hijacked the economic system and are extracting huge surpluses for themselves. I think Nvidia recently hit 5 trillion. If you go back maybe 18 months, we were talking about the first $1 trillion company. So, these companies are essentially, they're holding us by the short and curlies. And we are basically powerless. Now, what does that mean? Well, the good side, because there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good part is there's never been a better time to be a student. I talked about this death spiral, and you very quickly put it in the bot and out came an answer. We've never had access to information like this before in our existence. People, if you need to write a letter to your MP, you can use a bot to craft you a letter that can be as aggressive or as diplomatic as you want. These are things that up until a couple of years ago were beyond the reach of working class people. I prefer to look at it this way, that working class people, blue collar people, have power at their fingertips that previous generations didn't have. We just need, this is the art of war. We need to use these weapons to further our own ends. And I would argue that we do have that ability. We just need to seize upon it and realize that the adversary on the other side has got some big weapons, and they will probably stop at nothing to crush us. We're in a war. There's no other way to put it. And it comes down not to wealth, but to power, because that's what I see happening around the world. The rich, the billionaires, are doing everything they can. Wealth taxes are something that many countries are talking about, but most countries have realized that a wealth tax is not going to work. Because the wealthy, you think they got wealthy by being stupid? The moment England produces a wealth tax, the wealth will simply migrate away from England into some Swiss bank account or some Caymanian bank account. So these tools, these 20th century tools, are no longer workable. Even the concept of nation state, the concept of a nation state, the United States, Bermuda, the United Kingdom, these are 20th century concepts when we live in a world of financial capital where billions of dollars can move across national borders in seconds. So when you say that Bermuda should do this and thus, like, really? You really think that you have control of this world when the world is sort of going down internet pipes? And internet pipes controlled by the billionaires. You think that you can sort of corral their wealth? No, you can't.
I
know it's depressing, but we do have this weapon. It's called artificial intelligence. And you're intelligent, and this thing can make you even more intelligent. Social workers can now help more of our people to get things like financial assistance, or to direct them in places where they can get the help that they need. So I see artificial intelligence as a weapon that we can use to help blue-collar Bermuda. We just need to wake up to that reality and stop sort of going off in a corner and sulking about the end of the world coming. No, it's not.
Yes.
Maybe I'm what is it? Got the rose tinted glasses. Maybe that's my problem.
But no, I appreciate, look, this is the Daily Hour. And whenever Mr. Simmons comes on or Sir John, we are happy to.
Do you see the date on that?
I can't. No. What's the date?
It's 1994.
94.
My students back in 1994 asked the question,
how do I survive in this society?
And for asking the question, they were savaged by this country.
Yeah.
Parents lost jobs, scholarships were cut. Continua. The struggle continues.
Yeah.
If you think it's over, so what we need to do is sharpen our swords and get ready. That's what we do.
Mr.
You don't sit back and TikTok, because if you got TikTok, erase it, because all that's doing is distracting you away from the work that needs to be done. Sharpen your sword.
But they tell me I need to use TikTok.
You want a book to read? Here's one. Do you see that?
No, what's it say?
No, we can't see it. It's gotta focus a bit.
No, the light's right on the writing.
Power and progress. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, we're going in the library.
Another one.
That was Oliver. Who's the author of that one?
Michael Jarvis. It's about Bermuda.
Okay.
Another very good one.
In the Eye of Old Trade. Okay. Who's that?
Yeah.
Who's the author of that one?
Michael Jarvis.
Okay. Well, we're going to the library today. This is a rare type of show.
I know. I love it. Okay, I can't see it, but it looks like a dissertation. It looks like someone's dissertation. The social and hierarchical construction of Black Bermudian identities, implications. There's a semicolon of where it's cut off. To the implications for education. The social and hierarchical construction of Black Bermudian identities, implications for education. Whoa.
I get off TikTok.
Get off TikTok, folks. You heard it. I don't know how many of our audience is actually on there, but you heard Mr. Simmons. Mr. Simmons, thank you so much. We've got to run, but
I'm very sorry.
No. I'll say this much, as I was just saying that whenever yourself or Sir John or anyone with the type of information on the level of conversation that you have, we're happy to turn this into more than the daily hour.
Yeah,
conversations are necessary. For me, it's not. I'm here to learn from everyone who's a guest on this show, and not because of what you say that makes me feel good, but what I need to know and what direction you can help lead me to learn more. I'm appreciative that you grant your time to us. The audience is as well. They've been saying it forever since you began talking.
Yes.
So I want you to know that you appreciate it. And if I had it my way, I get nervous when I say to Simone, "Oh, see, Mr. Simmons available," because I'm just waiting for the day. He's like, "I'm enjoying my retirement. I don't have time today," right? But I'm grateful that you make time for this audience to engage with me because the information is appreciated. And I hope that we can have you back because in December, and I'll tell you why. We didn't touch on it this morning, Teray, but we overconsume. We're consumers. And we tend to overconsume 2 times in Bermuda, cotton match and Christmas. And I think it's time to have a conversation about our consumerism. And I think if you're open to it, I'd love to have you back to discuss that in December.
I'm at your beck and call.
We appreciate it. We do. We really do, sir. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And I look forward to the next conversation.
All the best.
Mr. Craig Simmons, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to come back. Teray has probably got a whole monologue to wrap this up on, so you don't want to miss this. But we have a daily play question, a trivia question that ties into the conversation today. And I think it's something everyone should know. So if you don't know the answer, it's okay. We will all know it by the end of today. And if you don't know it, that means you have not purchased Volume 2 of Bermuda Trivia. Hint. That's your hint. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us. You will be rewarded if you get today's question correct.
Being from this little island, like yourself, we knew you needed access to reliable shipping. We set up mailboxes so you can skip all the long waits or held up in customs excuses.
With mailboxes, that won't happen. Get your packages in under 48 hours using our dashboard.
Plus, if you're a planner or headerer, our weekly consolidation service might be for you. We hold your packages in Delaware and ship them together to save you big time on shipping fees.
And with our warehouse being in Delaware, that means 0% sales tax. Pretty cool, right, guys?
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Melbazoc Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
All righty, welcome back. Thanks again to Craig Simmons for coming on, having such direct conversation. His language doesn't offend me. No apologies needed. I appreciate the directness. As my she's not my crush, she's married, but as a woman I think very highly of, Abby Phillips says, it's all about coming as your authentic self. And I think he brings that. And it's not about saying things that are going to make us happy or comfortable, but addressing things head on so that we can be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations, if that even makes sense, the irony, right? But in saying that, thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can have these conversations on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5. Folks, it is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, Teray, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Your head was done. You were Googling.
I know, I'm not Googling. I'm writing down the books that we just got.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. It's Bermuda Trivia today. I think everyone's going to get this answer correct. The answer is so obvious.
Oh, all right.
I'd be shocked if they don't.
Okay.
All right, audience. Teray, here we go. What was the first reinsurance company to form in Bermuda?
Ace. AXA. What was the name of it? I don't know the name of it. I can't remember. AIG?
Yeah, it wasn't called AIG back then.
Was it called Ace?
Nope.
Was it called AXA?
Nope.
Was it called XL Capital?
Nope.
Okay, I'm all out of guesses.
Yes, American International, but it was called, yes, it was AIG, but what was it called back then, folks? Anybody know the name?
I should know this. Kathy Duffy, my mentor. Oh my gosh, I should know this. I can't remember.
This is, come on, folks. You all got to get your Bermuda Trivia Volume 2, the business section in there. All right. So the first reinsurance company to operate in Bermuda was known as International Reinsurance Co. in 1948.
International Reinsurance Co.
Yeah, it was preceded by the formation of American International Company Limited, known as, wait for it, AICO.
AICO.
Yes.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute.
So I know about AICO. I first learned because my family used to play softball for AICO, and I'm like, what AICO? But yeah, that was it. So if you didn't know, you learned something new. All right, folks. And again, that answers in Bermuda Trivia. I wonder if I can make an announcement about Bermuda Trivia today. You think I can make it without permission?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
So here's an announcement for you all. See that QR code up there in the top left?
Yes, I see it.
Scan it, and it'll take you to Bermuda Trivia's Instagram page, and then you'll get an announcement today on Bermuda Trivia Instagram. All right. Mr. Simmons said, get off of TikTok. He didn't say nothing about getting off Instagram. I'd advise you to get off there as well. But anyway, Teray, let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on this morning's discussion. Obviously, we were talking about the discussion was about what, giving back and stuff and charity.
Charity.
And obviously the conversation with Mr. Simmons. What you got?
My final thoughts are the conversation about charity is interesting and I think ongoing. And I'd be just curious to see how it develops. Sending my love to Jamaica as they reel from Hurricane Melissa. And it's just really good to see Bermuda step up and offer help in the form of like a plane full of supplies. So I think my comments on those are very like minimal. For the chat with Mr. Simmons, I mean, wow, he is my new favorite person, actually. Like, as he was talking, like, I was getting kind of mad at you, actually, when you were interrupting him. I'm like, let him speak, let him speak. Because, like, hearing him is so, like, it's so refreshing. And at some point, he said, this shouldn't depress you. But I was like, he was doing the complete opposite. In fact, he was restoring my hope in humanity. And in Bermuda, like, we're just so lucky to have him. Like, we're so, so lucky. There's a reason that the most popular guest is always Craig Simmons. Like, there's a reason for that. Like, he's just so phenomenal. We can talk to him about anything. He talked about the male crisis. He talked about the Dutch disease. He talked about like Bermuda's racial identity. He also kind of pushed back, which I really appreciated, on the idea of like remittances being anti-Bermudian or kind of adding to the problem of economic disparity. And I really appreciated that. And he also made me think about grocery stores in a very different way. Like, now I have empathy for them because he's
And
like,
that's
this is a low
Dennis.
margin business.
Mhm.
Exactly. But like, he framed it in such a way that one acknowledged that, listen, I know when you go to the grocery store, eggs are expensive, waffles are expensive. But in the context of things, these are not your villains. I know they
Right.
seem like it, but they're not your villains when you compare
Mhm.
it to the Visas, the MasterCard. So I really,
Correct.
really appreciated that. Like, I am so happy. I feel so nourished from that
Mhm.
conversation. Yeah,
Yeah,
I loved it.
yeah, and you know, I've echoed that when he said it on the show before. Like, I mean, I sympathize and I love Lindos. Like, we have a great relationship with Lindos. And I wonder, like, how do they make it? Because they're the most giving in the community, but also a grocery store is hard to run. Think about Bermuda's produce situation, which he's gone into before. Like, they only have a few days to sell goods. You know, it's tough for them, and so I'm glad that as an economist he took that approach. But as far as the discussion this morning, look, at the end of the day, we do live in a different time, Teray. People are not able to give um, anything in some respects. Some are just focused on trying to support their families, and I understand that. If you're able to give anything, it's appreciated, or at least it should be. But one thing I will say is, you know, I quote him all the time as far as Craig Kennan is saying, you know, we don't need more charity. People need more opportunities. And I'm a believer, as I've said in one of my upcoming releases, that in a fair and just world, there'd be no need for charity. I guess the question is, what's the plan to get us to that space? Mr. Simmons, I'd be willing to go on and on and on forever having a
Me
conversation.
too.
Not because he makes me feel comfortable, but because he makes me think. He should make all of us think, not in disgust or direct us toward hating or disliking anyone, but really it's internal. Like, what can we do to help our own situation? Teray, do you have any daily inspiration before we head out?
I do. This one is from Harry Truman, and it says, imperfect action is better than inaction.
Mhm.
Because there's a comment that stuck out to me that said, what can people do practically after hearing this? And I think Mr. Simmons gave us a slew of book recommendations, and just little steps that we can take to make our community better and ourselves better. So yeah, imperfect action is better than inaction. Also, food for thought about when we're rinsing these politicians left to right about doing the wrong thing, when in actuality, perhaps doing the wrong thing is better than doing nothing.
Yeah. I will say this: the longest daily hour show we've had, daily 2 hours, and I don't regret any of them. I just hope that, you know, Mark Arthur C. Phillips asks all the time for the audience to do us that favor. Help us beat the algorithm. Help your family, friends, your community, your colleagues have access to these most important community conversations. So if you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, it costs you nothing. Well, a little bit of time, 2 seconds, to like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. And also, if you haven't completed our survey, please go on our website, complete it today. All right, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 1075. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Teray Hall. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.